Hello viewers, welcome you all for this presentation on microenvironment under the components of business environment. This is Dr. Suryanarayana Sanyasi Naidu Bure, Assistant Professor at Ganpatrao Arvade College of Commerce, Sangli, Maharashtra. This video is a continuation to the video earlier I made on the business environment. Let me present the contents of this video. In this video, we are going to discuss the two major elements. One is the components of business environment and the second is micro environment factors. These are the two topics we are going to discuss in this video. So let me present the components of business environment. In the earlier video, I already discussed in detail about the components of business environment. So here I just presented to recall the components of business environment and to understand the background of microenvironment factors. As we already discussed that the components of business environment broadly classified into two categories. One is economic and another is non-economic environment. Economic environment further classified into internal environment and external environment. External environment factors further classified into micro environment and macro environment. The focus of this video is on micro environment factors since we done the discussion on the internal environment factors. So under external category, the first we discuss about the micro environment factors in this video. The next video we discuss about the macro environment factors. Let us start the discussion on the micro environment factors. Before going to start the discussion on micro environment factors, we should have a question in our mind that why should we study the micro environment factors? We need to study the micro environment factors because the micro environment factors have bearing on the business, or micro environment factors influence the business, or it have a direct or immediate effect on the business. Therefore, a businessman must study the factors which influence the business, either it is micro or macro. Therefore, we need to study the micro environment factors which influence the business directly or which have an immediate effect on the business. Micro environment factors are the factors in the immediate area of operation affecting its performance and its decision making freedom. So here I presented 6 micro environment factors which influence the business. All these factors have influence on the business. That influence may be favorable or unfavorable depending on the conditions and situations. Here the 6 micro environment factors are customers, supplier, competitors, intermediates, finance and public. Remember here the micro environment differs from company to company. The micro environment is not same for all the companies. It differs from company to company. Let us start the discussion of this micro environment one by one. The first is about customer. As we all aware about how customer is important or play a vital role in the success of any business. So if there is no customer, there is no business. And that is the reason customers are called as the backbone of the business. And that's why the companies try their maximum level to satisfy the customer by offering better services, by offering better product, by offering better price. Here, company must have a clarity regarding the kind of segment of customers it is going to target. Because whether it is targeting the rural population or urban population, whether it is targeting the male population or female population, whether it is targeting the higher income group people or middle income group people. So that clarity of targeting the customer is very important in determining the success of business. Again, the change in habits of the people or habits of the customers, the change in traditions, customs, preferences of the customers highly influence the business. When there is change in taste and habits of the people, it leads to change in the demand for the product. It further leads to change in the sales of the product, and ultimately profit of the company will be influenced. Therefore, the change in customers' attitude, habits, taste, preferences highly influence the business activity. Here I presented in this big number of factors which influence the customer, and as a result the business will be influenced. The next another important micro environment factor which influence the business activity is supplier. Supplier is the person who supplies the raw material and other inputs to the producers for making final goods and services. Take an example here, the sugar factory. The sugar factory is working based on the raw supply, that means sugar cane from the supplier. So when the sugar factory receives the timely and adequate supply of that raw material, that is sugar cane, it can function smoothly. Supplier play key role in success of the business because providing timely and adequate supply of this raw material to the company leads to a smooth functioning of that particular organization. If there is any irregularity or if there is any delay in the supply of raw material, it influences badly the particular business activity. Therefore, companies maintain cordial relations with the supplier, and some companies develops multiple sources of supply instead of depending on single supplier for its smooth functioning or for its better performance. When it's dependent on single supplier, it may face some problems. So therefore, in order to avoid such risk, companies develops multiple sources instead of single supplier for its better functioning and to achieve its goals. Another important microenvironment factor which have bearing on the business is competitors. As we are aware about that, any kind of business have the level of a particular level of competition. So competition is part of any business. So here every company has to face the competition in the same business and also from other businesses. It means when a particular company producing mobiles, it has competition from other companies which producing mobiles. That is the same business competition, but it also face the competition from other consumer durable goods because the consumer, all these companies are focusing on the consumer's disposable income. With this disposable income only, consumer purchasing different goods. So therefore, each company face the competition from the same business and also from other companies' products. In this way, companies has to frame strategies to face the competition for its survival and for its growth. Of course, competition drives the firms towards increasing their efficiency and innovation also. Take an example of the telecom communication competition. Because of the competition, the customers are getting best product at best price. Even the companies also trying their level best to provide better services and best services to the customers. This is another factor which influences the business activity. And another important microenvironment factor is intermediaries. Intermediaries are the people who act as middleman between the producer and consumer. Just producing a product is not going to successful in any business because that product must reach to the final consumer and then only the business can achieve success. So these middlemen are intermediaries who can call us wholesaler, distributor, retailers, traders. All these people play key role in reaching the product to the final customer or final consumer, because producer is not going to sell his commodity directly to the consumer. Through these people only the product will reach to the final consumer. So therefore these middlemen or intermediaries play a vital role in promoting, selling and distributing the products to the final customers. So their role is very crucial in achieving success of any product. So how many intermediaries or middlemen will exist means it depends on the kind of distribution chain the company has or the distribution system that company has. So it decides the number of intermediaries. And another significant micro environment factor influence the business is finance. Finance we can also call as credit. So most of the companies are depending on their finances for their capital needs. So when they need money, they are borrowing either from financial institutions like banks and other financial institutions, non-banking, and from general public and any other sources. So in order to meet their capital needs, they are depending on their financials. So here the policies of the financiers influence the availability of adequate credit. So most of the companies are depending on these financials for their capital needs. Therefore, the timely availability and adequate finance is a prerequisite for the success of any business. So when there is irregularity in providing a finance and when there is insufficient funds, the business may not grow. Therefore, timely credit and adequate credit is necessary for achieving success of any business. So the change in financial policies or strategies will influence the business. Take an example here. When banks want to provide more loans, it will affect a favorable impact on the business. When banks wants to provide very less amount of loans, it will affect the business badly. And another significant microenvironment factor influence the business is public. So public also play crucial role in determining the goals of business and the decision making of business unit. According to Philip Kotler, public is any group that has an actual or potential interest in or impact on a company's ability to achieve its objective. In other words, we can say public means the media groups, citizen associations, environment protection groups, local groups, women association, consumer protection associations are some of the examples we can say as a public. So take an example here. Any environment protection group may drag a company to the court for their environment for their activities against the environment protection or for their activities of damaging environment. So that kind of actions will leads to the influence in the business activity. Therefore, the company must take into consideration of these public actions also while framing their policies or while running their business activity. So these are the micro environment factors which influence the business activity or which influence the business directly and immediately, because the connection between these factors and business is very close. So the change in any of these factors impact the business activity or directly influence the business activity. So therefore, we must understand what do you mean by the microenvironment factors and how these factors influence the business activity. Based on that, a businessman can prepare or can well plan for strategies in order to increase their operational efficiency and achieving their goals. With this discussion, I close the discussion of this video here, and thank you all for this watching this video, and thank you so much for your support. Hope you all like this video. Please share your comment. Please post your comment on this video and subscribe this channel for more videos on economics. Thank you so much for your support.